Action.
Nosisi Ngakane.
Yes, sir.
You said Ngakane is Tswana.
Yes, Ngaka Enyane.
Ngaka Enyane.
Yeah,
A
Ngakane. A small doctor.
small dokotela.
Yes.
Do you know the origin?
I don't know the origin, but
Yeah.
it's interesting because a lot of my family members are doctors. So it was like, oh, okay. My grandfather was a doctor. My grandmother's a doctor. My aunt is a doctor. My cousin is a doctor.
Do you think it was like in the United Kingdom they have like blacksmith, goldsmith as surnames. We have like Omchali
Mhlambe, actually.
and Muloi, but we won't speak about them.
Oh, Matlakal.
This is not your first podcast episode.
It is.
Are you serious?
In my whole life.
Welcome. I'm breaking your welcome.
Thank you.
That's hectic, right?
It is.
Isn't it unfair as well?
Why?
Don't you ever have FOMO like at Amped when people come through and you're like, sure, I would have been a better guest than this nonsense?
No, never a better guest. But definitely it's like refined my conversational abilities and understanding how people have conversations.
Yeah.
It's different to just having a conversation. So not jealous, but like, I could do that.
One of the issues we have in South Africa is we as black people seem to have lost the ability to work the land. There are black people that have a lot of land that it lays fallow. Do you not feel like that being in a space where there's so much equipment, so much value, and you're not like exploiting it, especially as a creative?
Yeah. No, because I also, I'm a creative outside of this space. I was a creative before I came to this space. So it's never been, I was never like, oh, I need this type of equipment to do this. I do still kind of explore my creative side, but I do it in the spaces that I used to before I started working at Amped.
Okay.
So it's never like, no, not at all. I don't feel like
Do you
it's
ever
wasted.
record music at Amped?
No, rarely. Actually, I don't think I think I have maybe once. I was featured on a project of people that came to Amped.
Yeah.
So I was like, they asked me to feature, and I was like, okay, cool. But that was like the first and the last time. I generally feel uncomfortable. It's like, feels like you're using the company resources.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it feels like that. I don't want to exploit the system because if I do it, then it leaves it open to the rest of the staff doing
Are you not
it.
allowed to use it?
You are, if you ask, but I'm just like, I don't need to. It's fine. I can find other
kinda
spaces
sad.
to do it.
So normally when we record on my other platform, the Panel Show, I normally get the guys like Woolies Chicken. And I remember speaking to one of the ladies there who works in I don't know if it's the kitchen or the deli or whatever it's called at Woolies. And I was asking her if, she's happy, are they well paid? And she's like, we'll always complain about money. She's like, the one thing I can never complain about is, hey, they feed us here. Everything you see here, sngatata, whatever.
No
we
matter
want.
what,
So
yeah.
she's very comfortable in that part. I do hope you use the resources. I think you're an amazing mind. I understand you to be an amazing musician. Maybe make time. Be like, once a week for like 3 hours, let me just go back to who I really am.
I think I need to because I've been feeling a little bit lost with that and too caught up in the job.
Yeah.
And I'm in the studio, but I'm not using the studio because I don't have enough time to do the stuff outside anymore because we're so busy here.
Sure.
So I think I may be forced to, since I spend most of my time here now.
It should be like an organic thing, I think. Just like there's nothing happening. Let me just lay something
see.
quick.
Let's see.
We have a very heavy topic for today,
We do.
which this would be our third or fourth podcast episode since we've been having these chats. And you owe yourself like a podcast, which I don't know if you'll ever get to. And I'm hoping that this becomes like the gateway drug to you starting this podcast. The stresses of co-parenting.
Ooh.
So, your understanding of what co-parenting is maybe? And,
Maybe not the stresses.
Ha!
Just co-parenting.
The excitement and
Yes,
celebration.
The celebration.
We're celebrating the
Because
life
when you
of.
say the stresses, we're already preempting a negativity towards it, and it doesn't necessarily have to be negative, So let's just say co-parenting.
What's co-parenting to you, and are you comfortable to share your own co-parenting journey?
Yeah, I am comfortable.
Show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Yes. co-parenting for me is, in my unique circumstances, is that I was not necessarily with the father of my child when my child was brought into this world. I was single at the time.
Brought into or conceived or both?
Brought into the world. I was with him until about 4 months pregnancy, and then we separated. And so from there, I kind of, it's interesting because you develop your own. Men like to be like, oh, it's difficult for me to interact with you when you're pregnant because you're so emotional, whatever. So they stay away. But actually what you're doing is that you are getting me used to being alone in this journey. So it was always tricky for me to then kind of, even when the baby was born, it was like he was an external person that was really, at the time, it was tricky for me to share my baby with him because it was my baby. No, he wasn't at the birth. He was invited, but he was being a man about it.
I already feel a need to defend men, yes?
No, it's not about defending anyone because also, over time, I've learned to understand. We have like certain expectations of like what you would expect somebody to do, and they have an outlook of what they would want to do. So like typically, there's some men who are like, when my woman is pregnant, it's important for me to be there with her in the delivery room when she gives birth. Other men are like, hey, I'm going to go hang out with my boys and we're going to celebrate while the baby is being brought onto this earth. Yeah. And so both, I guess, are valid. You can't say anyone is wrong in that circumstance. You want certain... A woman has particular needs, but me, luckily, I'm the kind of person who's like, please leave me alone. When I'm going through like my hardest moments, I don't want anyone around me, I'd rather go through it and then deal with it on my own and then come out and be like, okay, hello, sharp, unjani. So, yeah, it's fine.
So I need you to expand further on your co-parenting definition, but I just want to jump in here quickly. From a historical perspective, this is not to defend men, even though I know we like defending our rubbish behavior. From a historical perspective, women would give birth with the assistance of maybe their mother, their grandmother, their aunts, their older sisters, because we didn't have hospitals and clinics and gynecologists and midwives. That's Western medicine intervention. So within that sacred space, my understanding of the history is that men weren't in that space because it was not meant to be a manly thing, and you're told to not see your woman in that type of position because it might scar you
for life.
And I think a lot of guys, I'm not defending them, maybe have that mindset of I don't think I'm meant to be there because like it's a woman and apparently it might get disgusting. It's a lame excuse. You said there is a right and a wrong. There isn't a right and a wrong. I think there is. The wrong being if you guys had discussed it before or during the pregnancy that I would really like for you to be there. I'd like you to hold my hand. I'd like you to be... And then it's for the guy to either be like, look, my family doesn't do this, and have a conversation.
But it should be prior.
Yeah. And then if he doesn't follow through on your wishes, then he's wrong.
But then there is the thing of like me and my partner, when I was pregnant, I've had another baby subsequently, and with somebody else who I'm now with like long term. Okay. But we spoke about what the birth situation would look like. And initially I was like, I want you there. I want you to hold my hand. Come on. And he was like,
baby,
push, baby, push. And he was like, listen to this. But actually on the day that I was giving birth, when I was in labor, he was there combing his hair. He's like, I see you, mama. Let's go. And I was like, also like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's do it. And he was willing to be there throughout. And then when the labor pain started getting really hectic, my water broke and he was like wiping the water all over the place. And then I was just like, actually, this thing is getting really hectic for me. And I would rather not have him feel lost in what I'm going through. Like, I feel like he's going to want to do too much. Sure. And then it's just going to annoy me. So I just need to go through it alone. So whatever we planned initially and what I thought I wanted initially on the day, it flipped that he was like, oh no, actually I'm going to come now. And I was like, no, please don't, like, please leave now.
You've got 2 kids?
I've got 2 kids.
How old are they?
My firstborn is 12.
12.
And my secondborn, I would say my thirdborn, because I've got a stepson also.
Dope.
But so the lastborn is 5 months now.
5 months?
Yeah.
Jeez.
He's recent.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Tricky nyana question, but do you think it's tricky because I'm asking an individual on behalf of like women.
Mm.
Do you think it would be ideal for women to have the father there, or to have female people that like your best friends, your mom, women, especially people who have gone through the process, be there versus a man, and especially a man who maybe doesn't have experience being in
the
that
room.
space?
Again, it's based on the individual,
Yeah.
right? So my first pregnancy, I did at a birthing clinic.
Okay.
So I had a water birth with a midwife in a room with candles.
Do you want to mention the name? Because maybe I know
Genesis
it.
Clinic.
Oh,
yeah,
the best.
The best.
They've
right?
shut down.
Yeah, they've shut down.
That
It's
breaks
so
my
sad.
heart.
Yeah, me too. Because
Two
I
of my
wanted
kids
my
were born there.
second. They're incredible. So it was a different scenario where I was with my sister the whole day.
Yeah.
And, it felt very supportive. And I think at the time, my energy was more kind of accepting of that type of support. And later on, my grandmother came, then my aunts came, then my uncles came, then the room was full of people, nje. It was just packed. And my uncle was there taking photos, and they're like some very compromising photos of me out there in the world that I don't even want to see it, But at Genesis, and at that time, I was in my late 20s at 28, I was quite comfortable to have the support of my sister. But this time around, I'm 41. And I had my child when I was 40. I turned 41 this year. Yeah. And this time around, I was very much wanting to do it on my own. I think I had a level of fear just about like how it would play out. So if there was any complications that would happen, I would want it to just be me and the doctors. Okay. I wouldn't want to also have to worry about hear my sister's voice in the background, or my grandmother who's very overwhelming to be like, yeah, now I'm stressed out, chaos.
I hear you.
So I was just like, you know what, let me go into this thing alone. I spoke to my sister in the morning, we were chilled. I was like, if I come out, we'll be all right. Let's see.
I come out.
Yes, hey, it was hectic. But this time I gave birth at a public hospital. So I went from Genesis to Joburg Gen.
Charlotte Matlege.
Yes, it was super. It was very scary. The thought of it was scary. But the way it happened, I mean, I did it alone. I could have basically given a home birth. I could have had a home birth because there was no one there the whole time.
At the hospital?
Like they put me into the room, but then they were like, okay, we're going to come back. Then they'd come back like after like 2 hours, and one person would come and they put their fingers and check. Then another person comes and she puts her fingers, and they've got different size fingers.
Jeez.
So now they're not like measuring accurately like the dilation. So they kept on saying I'm not dilating, and then they were like insisting that I'm going to go in for a C-section. While my baby was moving out, everything was happening. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I know that I'm dilating. And then, I basically, when they came in to try and wheel me out, I was like, the baby's coming now. And they're like, no. I said, the baby's coming right now. And then the lady put in, then they were like, die!
You can't tell me about my body.
Yeah,
I know what's happening.
I know my body, literally, So, I mean, it was interesting. But I knew that I had, I was capable. I was like, okay, cool. I could have done this thing at home.
Yeah.
It's fine. The Lord has blessed me with good health, and my children with good health.
Yeah.
So I didn't need to worry. But yeah, I mean, that's that story.
I realize how deep this conversation is, and I'm now worried.
About?
No, that like we may not even get to the co-parenting and what we came here for.
Yeah, so you asked me about what my version of co-parenting is, and I didn't get to that because I was still explaining the context to why it is the way it is.
No, I hear you. Don't answer it.
Okay.
I need to jump in. So, giving them a shout out, even though they've shut down. Genesis is a very was pro natural birth, very focused on woman delivering herself with the assistance of a midwife. Later on, they introduced like a theater with C-section, but they were very pro-natural, huge ass rooms, no visiting hours. You can have as many visitors as you want. Daddy can sleep over.
You can
Daddy can eat. Such a beautiful space. Enough space for a water birth. And I had 2 amazing deliveries there. 2 of my kids. My brothers, I don't know if 2 or 3 of his boys were born there as well. I wonder if there is another Genesis or type of, because we need those type of spaces.
There is.
Okay, you'll tell me about it later. Because I'd love to carry on in that vein. I think a couple of my kids have been born in private. My firstborn, because we didn't know what we were doing. And then some of the others because there was potential for complications. So then the mother's out of fear, which is like, look, let's go here.
just
But
go.
when everything's good to go, man, a place like Genesis is really special. It was the closest thing to a home birth, where your people can literally come in anytime, and the midwives there. I don't want to give a shout out to them, but they know themselves. They were so amazing. Oh, mama there. So yeah, man, that's sad. When you're over 35, I think you officially become high risk.
Geriatric.
Officially become high risk. So I can imagine also when you're 40, 41, it might be a joke, but
No, this is
you know,
real.
these are the concerns that, like, guys, something may happen. Just be on the lookout.
Yeah.
And there's this huge fear of public hospitals versus private, and the experiences that you get there. So that's why I'm saying, if ever we decided to do a mini deep dive, we could
Yeah.
go for 2 hours.
On that one alone.
I just wanted
Yeah.
to say those things.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, it's true. It's true.
Co-parenting
Yes.
and your definition.
Context you've got. Right now I'm going to just
Congrats on giving birth, man, at 40. That's too
Hey,
dope. That makes you
yeah.
like a superwoman of
like
sorts.
a G.
Yeah.
So I'll just fast forward. Like, the co-parenting journey changes over time, and
That's
you know,
important to know.
yeah, I think it's very
Yeah.
important to start with,
Yeah.
because when you are just coming out of having a baby as a woman, your emotions are high, and depending on the context as to why you were not with your partner, it will dictate how you kind of feel. So initially I came in on folk vibes, yabo. And then and it took me a few months, like about 6 months, but one thing is that even no matter how much I had disagreements with the father of my child, because they're continuous, I've never separated him from the child. So
Yeah.
in fact, when I look back and I see pictures, and he sends me pictures, they're pictures of my child when he was still like in a bottle, and you couldn't even recognize the person that he was, and he was going to visit the dad, or we'd have like days when we'd go to the park and he would come and see him there, and I'm there,
On the bottle, suckling.
Yeah, suckling on the
Oh,
bottle.
I thought you were speaking about an incubator. Okay.
Oh, no.
Sure.
He was normal
Okay.
term. So I was there, but reluctantly. So
What made you do that? Do you know?
what?
What made you say, hey, fuck this situation, maybe fuck this guy, but I'll still give him access to the child? Because a lot of women struggle with that.
Because I had a vision for what type of a mother I was going to be. I had a vision for my child. When I chose to have a child, I knew I wanted to have a child, So it was, and me and the father, we had a discussion about having the child. So it was never like, it was about him. It was about my child, you
Yeah.
know. I was like, I always want my child to know his father. No matter what's going on between me and the dad, I want him to have a dad, you know, and I don't want him to be confused. Growing up, I had a dad, but there was a early period in my life where I didn't know him. And I remember, like, when I was in preschool, I have vivid memories of like lying to friends of mine at school to say there was a magician that came to school, and I'd be like, that's my dad. And then they'd bribe me for months to say, we're going to tell your mother that you said that's your father. And then they'd make me do things that I didn't want to do because I was afraid of being outed by them.
Yeah.
But when I look back, and I think actually my need was for a father, right? So I don't want my child to feel that need at all. Like, he must know that no baba and ubaba muyangthanda and umawam no baba, they're always there for me, you know, no matter what's going on. So that was always the thing.
I'm sorry that it took trauma for that, because sometimes it
know.
does. Sometimes it takes trauma for a woman to be like, I never grew up with my dad, or I watched my brother struggle with access to his child, so I won't put my baby daddy through
I
that.
think a lot of things around parenting come from trauma, because
Yeah, that is
even
true.
like how you want to raise your child comes from how you were raised and how you don't want to you don't want to repeat the same mistakes. I wouldn't call it a trauma more than like, you know, impilo njalo, like you're gonna keep learning, you go through something and you're like, actually I would have done it a different way, you know. So that's kind of how I've lived my life out. Some actually comes out as trauma, but so that's always been the thing with the father of my child. And like I said, you know, the journey is up and down between us, but there's always a consistency between him and the child. Also, thank God for his mother, who has always played she's always been the mediator in the sense that there are moments like now, we don't talk. We're in one of those phases.
You and
Me and the father of my
child.
child, yeah.
Okay.
We go through phases, you know, so I'm
Trust.
actually quite comfortable with it, because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, okay. I realize that this is a lifelong journey with another human being that I'm actually not aligned with. So we are going to disagree quite brutally also. Like everyone stays steadfast on what they're saying. However, even with that stubbornness, there's a child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay,
That
cool.
can never go
That
away.
can
You'll
never
be
go
taken
away.
back to the shop.
Back to the shop. It's gonna be there forever. Yeah. So I'm very conscious of that. I'm very conscious of, okay, singalwa, but umntana, if I'm khulumi nawe, then definitely I'll talk to your mother. But either way, you're gonna see the child.
Shout out to his mom. And
shout
this
out to
is
that
very
lady.
important. There's a note I forgot to raise earlier. Because of emotions, because emotions are a real thing, hormones are a real thing, pregnancy does do something to a lot of women, maybe most women. And they may act out in a way that even they aren't really in control of. Most young boys and men are not trained to deal with a pregnant woman. And I don't even know if it is for men to deal with a pregnant woman. You may find that during your pregnancy, the best people to be around is your family, people who love you, people that understand you.
What are your people who love you? Your partner who gave you the baby should be the one who loves you too.
They love you when you're slaying and looking hot, and when you guys are making the babies.
But when your nose is this big
and your feet are swollen, maybe they're like, Don, I don't know if I want him to be a Shrek.
and all you can say is what's the whole time.
So the one thing is, we're not training boys and young men on how to handle, never mind pregnancy, an emotional hormonal woman. And you guys also don't help for obvious reasons. When we're dating, when things are great, you're also trying to put your best foot forward.
Of course.
So this is all I ever see. At that time, you don't have a choice. You also, like I said, you can't control your emotions. You also might be like, what the fuck? I'm so cranky. I'm pissed. I'm itching. Gashisa, fuck this. And you can't control it. And you may take it out on him, or you may just be frustrated and it affects him. So we need to have that conversation. A lot of guys run away because of how women treat them during pregnancy, because it may be the first time you're ever really yourself. Because you've never been in that pressure. In the same way, he runs away because it's the first time he's had to deal with real things. And now as a woman, you're also seeing Guti. So Max so this nigga runs. And that's normally, a lot of relationships end during pregnancy because askaze sibonane in that type of situation. Or money.
And like, it's interesting because, like, I mean, I'm not just even talking for myself here, but even with other female friends or guy friends, like, guy friends, where my wife is pregnant, she doesn't want to have sex anymore, so I'm gonna go have sex somewhere else, or my wife is pregnant, she's always like beefing me, but instead of like taking time out to listen and actually understand what's happening, it's like now you're coming at the fight as if I'm normal, like without considering that actually my hormones are like doing weird things, and one of I didn't understand with my first pregnancy, but my second pregnancy, I was very conscious of it. So I would always tell my partner, babe, I'm sorry. Like, so I'd have these like major meltdowns. And then I'd always come back to him to be like, hey, as in fit, askies.
Sure.
Like, yes, I didn't like what you did there. However, my reaction was really like way blown out. Yeah. Even the guys at work, they were telling me when I came back from maternity leave to say, wow, Nas, it's so different. And there was a time when I told my boss, my colleague, to tell my boss to say, why is he calling you? Why doesn't he call me? So, and those are things that I don't remember. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, actually, damn, that was a bit crazy. Yeah. But it's so out of your control. And it's not that I'm being myself. I'm not. I'm actually so outside of myself and my norm. I'm struggling to understand it. So not only do I have all this physical stuff happening, then I have these like weird outbursts where some women have a lot of even pride and ego to not go back and say, hey, babe, askies.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? And like one of the big themes, I think, even within co-parenting is pride and ego. It's like a huge thing across the board, because I feel also a lot of the, like I said to you, me and the father of my child are not talking right now.
Sure.
And a lot of it is pride and ego all the time. That's why I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let my child suffer for pride and ego.
Both sides or one side, in your opinion? Obviously from your side.
On my side.
It's obviously him. Duh.
I know, right? That's an easy thing to say because you never see yourself, right?
Yeah.
But I always try to reflect and ask like my current partner to say to him, okay, this is the situation. And as a guy,
Yeah.
do you think I'm wrong? Like because I said this and that and a third. And I think a big thing which causes disagreements is like expectations and not being open to hear the next person, right? So it's like I'm totally open to hearing you. You can come and tell me, hey, this is what I want to do. Hey, so ngiyakuzwa. Whether I agree or not, whether I'm going to go forward with it is another thing.
Correct.
You must also be open to the fact that I may not agree. Don't come and communicate with me and expect that I'm just going to say yes, 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 yes. I'm a human.
Yeah.
And I'm the primary caregiver. Unfortunately, I live with the child, right? So I have more of a context as to like what may work and what may not work. So I'll hear you and say, okay, cool, I hear you. Okay, that's nice. Okay, moving right along. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And then you're going to get mad because then you feel
Definitely.
unheard,
Correct.
right? And I'm like, I'm not hearing you. It's just when you're speaking, you've already come into the conversation with an expectation that I'm going to just do.
Sure.
And you're not leaving open a discussion to say, I may counter and say, no, I don't think that's going to work because of X, Y, Z. Then when I say because no, your mind is like, no.
You're gatekeeping my child. Who
Yes.
do you think you are?
Yes, exactly.
It's my son.
It's my son. Yes. And then
Yeah.
it's like, but actually that's not what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so that's why I always feel like, sometimes I feel like, hey, as in this situation is so hectic because no matter how much I can try to communicate with him and go back and forth, there's certain trigger words that I know now. I'm like, oh, Lona, when you talk this, it's going to rile them up a little bit. So rather not have those conversations. So as a result, I then stop talking about a lot of things because
Which is arguably also not healthy.
Which is also not healthy. But then, exactly, then it's like how, you don't involve me in X, Y, Z. And it's like, I never know whether I'm stepping on something or if I'm not stepping on something. So I would rather just keep quiet. And whatever it is that you want to know, you can come to me and ask me.
Sure.
But I will not volunteer information because sometimes my information is not roses. So like sometimes it's like, oh yes, the child, he got a prize at school, whatever. I'm now talking hypothetically. And then the next time it's school shoes and now you're mentioning imali.
Sure. Uyagula,
So
umuthi 380.
Mawukhuluma ngemali, it's a trigger.
Yeah.
Mawukhuluma ngama-prize giving it's easy convo. Yabo. So I'm like, I think it's a bit unfair that you would expect me to only have like the nice conversations with you, but like when I have to have the other real conversations, which are a big component of raising a child, then there's always like a conflict.
Yeah.
Then I'd rather not talk about anything at all then.
Oh, which is so tough. Shout out to you for trying to pick out the trigger, because what tends to happen, especially with women who, what we label bitter, angry, whatever, they tend to see the triggers very quickly, and that's all they do. You'll never mention the prize giving. As soon as a cool, yazi ngimthengela umuthi wa 500 and his school shoes were 2,000 rand, you kunzima ukuba umama, because you know he's gonna get what, are you like, yeah, good.
Really. But it's not. It's for me. It's my peace.
I understand.
When I'm, because I've had to spend so much time trying to understand why our conversations go the way they go, and is there something that I can do, because it's very traumatizing for me. It changes my whole day.
Yeah.
Like it affects my whole energy. I can't deal with it, you know. So I was like, hey, another 18 years of this. I want to say, oh no, what can you? If you want to fight, hey, my bro, you're going to fight on your own. Sometimes I do get to those places where I'm like, I want to say my piece. And I feel like my piece is valid. I'm not fighting you. I feel like it's important for me to say it. You know, like, let's say you're trying to pass on a responsibility onto me that I feel genuinely that this should not be my responsibility, i.e., dropping off and picking up the child for the weekends, right? every whatever your arrangement is. I don't feel like it's my responsibility to have to take the child to you, to have to call you when it's your weekend to fetch the child and say, hey, what's happening? Are you fetching the child? Are you not? I don't really feel like that's my responsibility because I'm with him all the time. You have 4 days in the month that you need to think about this thing. Otherwise, the rest of the month, you don't have to think about anything, right? So why must that be my responsibility to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway? And you only have to think about it for, what's 48 plus 48? Whatever. Those many hours. You know what I mean? 96 hours of the month.
Almost 100 hours a month.
Of the month.
I've got a defense. You know, I think maybe when we have a next sit down, which I don't know the father of your child. But I think what will need to happen when we sit down again, I'm going to ask you to maybe write a list of the things that are frustrating you and pissing you off. And then I'm going to try and answer on his behalf. Not for him, but you're going to come as a angry, frustrated mom raising a child. And then I'm going to try and come in as the father who's the other parent.
But we're so different, Pen.
No, I know.
Not as in like, I talk for myself, but I also talk in the context of other females. And it's like something I was also talking about earlier on this week to say, why is it that all females talk the same talk?
Yeah.
Ne? But then there are different variations of men. But for the most part, most men have got the same...
Talk the same talk.
Talk the same talk,
and I can explain. That's what I'm saying. So not on behalf of the father of your child, but on behalf of those most men.
Most men.
You know that I wanted to speak about the father's family, since you mentioned, because that's important. And I'll touch on it after I say this. That 4 days a month is very triggering for a good father. 30 days in a month, I only get the child for 4 days, and it's a structured 4 days, and it may be a 4 days when I'm not in the mood. You've got 26 days to be in the mood, not be in the mood. It's chilled. And when you speak to family advocates, they're like, school days don't count, which I personally think is bullshit.
What do you mean school days don't count?
They're like, mom also only gets the child on the weekends because they're at work and the child's at school. So we don't really count that day as mom spend time with the... And I'm like, that's rubbish, because if the school days don't count, let me live with the child and you get 4 days. Because there's quality time. I've lived with my kids. You have quality time in the morning, the school rush, there's bonding and things that happen there.
All sorts of bonding that's happening.
There's teaching. Did you make your bed?
Yes.
Uskandilis kaftini?
Yes.
And then depending on the child's extramurals and depending on your lifestyle, you can have the child from 2, 3, 5 until let's say 8 or 10,
there's
or if you're a great parent, 8.
Yeah.
There's homework. All of that is bonding time. If my child lives with me, I'm at their sports practice, I'm helping them with homework, we're watching TV together. I'm like, oh, I'm sculpting their mind. So that's the one part that the 4 days is already triggering for a lot of good fathers.
I see.
The second one is it's every alternate weekend according to our Children's Act and what they call stability, what. You forget, number one. You forget. Trust. You forget. And you also may have things to do that weekend. Yeah, I'm saying this because moms have 26 days to do things, not do things.
But so do you.
No, trust. And I'm just saying,
so
on that specific weekend, look, I'll make a dumb example. But these are the type of examples men make. It's Kaizer Chiefs and Pirates.
Facts. Okay.
So, Donna, the last thing I need is babysitting a 6-year-old.
So you know what you do then?
You know.
Just like when I have got a party I want to go to or wherever it is that I want to go to, I organize a babysitter.
Trust. And those are the conversations we need to have. I'm trying to explain that this is the mindset.
Okay,
so we speak about the mindset so that we teach each other and so that we find solutions. One of the arguments I have made for the mothers of my kids is things like, she's like, but you're busy. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's like, no, but you must bond with the child. I'm like, I know, but I only have the 4 days. And unfortunately, I have work on that day. Let me rather keep the child. Don't keep the child.
No.
The child must be in my space, kwababa, chilling with whoever and being babysat. No, it's like, no. But that's something now you need to teach. And look, to defend the woman, she's been considerate. She's like, since you're working, let me rather keep the child. I'm like, that is the right thing to do and the right thing to say. But I'm like, because I've realized the importance of routine, the child must know ngiyakwa baba. whether he's there or not, whether he's going to drag me to work or not. But because sometimes mom drags me to things that I hate, and that's how I bond with them.
It's interesting because I also have that thing, Yoguti. And actually, I didn't think of it that way, Yoguti. The 4 days is triggering. Because I'm like, it's 4 days and a holiday a year. Ne? And then in that holiday, uhlala kwa mama wakho, ne? And uzofika maybe twice in 5 days uzobona umntana. Hey, that thing.
It upsets women.
Yeah, because I'm like, yo, you don't get to spend time with the child.
So why not maximize?
Why not maximize it when he's here, right? But then it's like you're saying, I'm busy during this time, right? Then it's like, okay, cool. And, you can't determine when you're going to be busy, when you're not going to be busy. And that's the thing of living separately. It's like, so now I'm actually of the opinion, like at first I used to be so judgmental of the father of my child and how he spends time with our child. Not how often, but when he does have the time, what are the things they do?
Yeah.
Because I have my own version of what it is to bond with umntana, right? And that caused a lot of tension. And I then had to let go and be like, you know what? This person is an individual. And if you are Puma Nomtana, like sometimes my child would come home and say they were at a Chisanyama in Tembisa at like 10 at night.
Yeah.
Yo, in my mind, I'm like, what time? Where? But then I'm like, whew.
Yo, you did well to exhale.
Let go.
Do you know how rare that is? I don't know if you know. Do you know?
No.
No, do you know that you exhaling and trying to figure out that, look, he's an individual, that is not normal? Because I can only imagine, so maybe you don't know, but I think you can imagine that you could have not let it go.
Yes, I could have not.
I
could have been like, yo.
Yeah.
What the hell?
We're really not the same, and it's a big fight. I sat in a family advocate's office in Pretoria. Sadly, I have to mention the gender. The family advocate was a woman. The social worker that was involved in the case was a woman. And the mother was like, even when he is with our son over the weekend, they do these weird things that don't make sense. And the family advocate asked, and I gave examples. And it's like, but why don't you take the boy to the park and push him on a swing? And at that time, I was like,
why are people asking me about what is it that I choose to do?
I'm like, I understand the importance of bonding very much. But I will not mimic what people see on TV and call that bonding, because that's fake. Come, boy, let's go buy ice cream. I don't eat ice cream.
That's not me.
Ngishisa inyama, ngidlala amapiano, so that when my son leaves, it's like, hey, my father loves this jam. And when my father makes lamb chops, hey, utsuki inhlamba. She was complaining about the music I play. He listens to hip hop. I'm like, that's me. My children know, yeah, but it's got swear words. I'm like, but that's me. Yes, I'll tell the child that swear words are wrong, but we could be married.
And does
that mean I can't listen to hip hop because we have a child in the house? That's who I am. Exactly. So I was like, this is how I bond with my child. And I'm sorry if it's not good enough for the mom. I don't police how she bonds with the child, because I could easily criticize so many other things. I wanted to give a shout out to, I guess give a shout out to the mother of your child's grandmother, paternal grandmother. One of the solutions, because there's a lot of tension between what I call baby mamas and baby daddies. Some people hate the terms, by the way. Maybe I'll ask you what your opinion is. We need to find as many well-meaning supporters in what we're doing, stakeholders that can liaise with us, with our other stakeholders on our behalf. You are picking a fight if I'm saying, please drop off the child with my mom. Why with your mom? Where are you? What are you doing? My mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, those are my people. So when that child is with me, when that child is with them, they are with my people. In the same way, when you go visit your extended family and your aunt is with the child and your mom, in a woman's head, it doesn't function or it doesn't align that that's exactly what's happening with me. But again, the 4 days. I only have 4 days. You want me to maximize. When do my people get to spend time with this person? Thanks. And if I'm asking you drop them off with my mom, you're already getting mad. Why not? And you're like...
But also why... It is because what I've realized, and I mean, I didn't just become this person. I'm a female, so I have a lot of friends who are also co-parenting, and I've watched how they do it, and I agree and disagree on certain points. And God gave me the temperament that I have also, and mine is a conflict avoider. Like I don't want to.
I understand. You choose peace.
I choose peace, dude.
Yeah.
So I'm like always like, okay, cool. Whoa, oh, I got into this conflict. Why? How can I not get into it later, right? And the thing of policing, why is the child with your mother and not with you? Why are you choosing to go to a chisanyama and not go to the movies with the child? Why are you... That's none of my business. That's where I'm at. We say, what you do with your child is what you do with your child. I just want my child to know you, your mother. Tomorrow, if I drop dead and die, the child can't be lost and be like, Manje, I don't know who my father is.
Sure.
I don't know who my father's family is. The mom... Also, there's something interesting I learned last week, that if, let's say you and I have a child and you don't have a job, so you can't pay maintenance, and you prove that you don't have a job and you can't pay maintenance.
I know where this is going. This is so dangerous.
That your mother...
Don't raise this.
No, do you know your mother is liable, or your father is liable to pay the maintenance for the child?
So not just my mom and my dad. It could be anyone where it can be proven that I'm financially dependent on them. It could be my wife.
It could be your wife even.
I'm married.
If you're married
I'm unemployed,
and you have a child outside of wedlock, I can go for your wife.
It's wild.
That is crazy.
The law in this country says you
like,
can do that.
I was like, yeah. Oh wow, really?
That thing can cause a lot of damage, but that's exactly what it is. I could do the same as well. If you like, I got a penal sebens. I can go for your parents. I can go for your boyfriend, your husband, whoever you are relying on financially. If I can prove they can contribute, or legally I can get them to contribute to the child.
That's wild. But that then just shows you. It's the for me, the point of that statement was to say, then it falls the same way when it comes to time.
Yeah.
To say, if my mother can be liable for the maintenance, then the child also being with my mother is just as good as the child being with me.
Correct.
That has been passed on to her. So, I mean, these are things I'm learning recently, but the thing with my level of learning, it's a learning. And I know that as the child grows, there's different demands. Yeah. You know, my child is now hitting puberty. You know, he's got pubic hairs and he's a man now.
How do you know he's got pubic hairs?
Because I've seen them. What do you mean? People always say that to me. And I'm like, listen, I tell my child, drop those pants.
Hey!
Because, let me tell you.
No.
When his pee is itchy, who is he coming to?
He'll go to your partner.
No, he comes to me.
Or his father.
He comes to me. He doesn't even... His relationship with his dad is not that deep that he's gonna be like, hey, I've got this. So he'll be like, ish, mom, my pee-pee's been itchy for like 2 days now. Then I'm like, I just go through a process of elimination. Like, have you cleaned it inside? Have you been cleaning it properly inside? Because it's not circumcised. Then I say, are there any bumps around it? Like, just based on guessing and what I've seen, you know? And then, but he's very comfortable with me because I'm like...
You've created that type of relationship.
I've created a relationship with him where I'm like, your health is important to me. And private parts are not private in our household, you know, like, because you're going to need help with them.
Yeah, this is a safe space.
This is a safe space. So, yeah, I know what my son
Such a tough topic that you're raising. I don't know how long we're going to go for.
Ideally, it would be great if the dad did it.
No, of course. Look, I'm raising it because I'm a father to daughters. So the conversation becomes different. And it is different. I can try and pretend like it's not. And there are progressive fathers who would say it's not, but it is. Because I had to train, and they didn't like it. I had to train the mothers of my daughters to say, these are girls. It's like, but you're their father. I'm like, I know. And my daughters are very comfortable with me, naked. My firstborn daughter, Africa, is turning 11 this year. Her sister, Culture, is turning, I think, 5 this year, if I'm not mistaken. And then they've got a little baby sister who's 4 months. Africa visited me over the December, January holidays. And I remember she was going to bath and she was like, oh, you're my father. And she got naked. But one of the things I said to the moms is, look, I am the father. It's important. I can bath the girls, it's fine. But I also psychologically don't want them to get comfortable with being bathed by a man. I don't want them to be comfortable being naked, whether it's me, their brothers. It's a conversation. Like I said, it frustrated them.
Why?
Why did it frustrate them? Or
No, why do you have that?
Because
point
I'm a
of
man.
view? So
You know, the one thing I know about
is it
men,
sexualized?
the one thing I know about men in particular is we are a certain type of animal. It's also the reason why women don't understand things like domestic violence and violation. They're like, yeah, but speak to your brothers. And I'm like, I don't think you know what type of animals are out there that we're dealing with. And when I tell you, don't wear a short skirt, don't go there, it's not because of me. It's not because I'm looking at your thighs. It's because I know what we're dealing with. In the same way, women get jealous of each other. Did you see that girl speaking like, oh, it was like she wants you? No, she doesn't. Like, I'm a woman.
I know. Yeah.
So
That's a fact, though.
So it's that with fathers of girls. We want to protect them.
Okay, I got you.
I've also had these conversations, especially my sister was my first training because we've got a 12-year gap. I used to change her nappies. I used to feed her. I remember when she was in primary school, I put it worse than itchy around your pee-pee. I used to be like, if there's green things coming out of your vagina. She's like, you, shut up. I'm like, listen here. I'm your older sister. You don't have an older sister?
I'm your older
If there's
sister.
weird things, if boys, what, if you feel, come talk to me. And she's always loved that about me. But in the same breath, I'm like, I want that relationship, but I want you to confide in me. And especially now that she's older, it's like, come to me and then I'm going to find you the right woman to counsel you. Because I don't want you getting comfortable speaking to men about these things because I understand the psychology. But it's
you know what it is?
It's a tricky conversation.
It is because like what you're saying is like for me and my son, he used to be naked a lot. My son was always naked.
Always mapuna-puna.
Until 10. And he went to boarding school at 10, that's why. But so he went to boarding school and then we kind of separated. But when he came back from boarding school, I'm on the same memo, like, yo, I'll come out the shower, come out the bath, I'm busy. So then the other day, he's like, and there's his little brother, my stepson.
How old is your stepson?
He's 10.
Okay.
So he says, Mom, can you stop being naked? Then I said, why? And then the little one is like, yes, please. Then I was like, oh, when?
Shout out to the boys.
I was like,
the boys are schooling you. They're like, this is inappropriate.
This is inappropriate now. Then I was like, oh, okay, cool. But at the same time, my thinking around that was, I don't want you to be like the woman's body must only be something that you see in a sexual context. Yeah. You know what I mean? In that, like, you must know that bums are bums. Women have got vaginas and breasts are like this, you know, and it shouldn't be that, oh, there's this sexualization of the body, right? And that's why I'm questioning you is because, you know, your daughter will be naked in front of you or want to talk to you about certain things. She's not going to get used to talking to men about that thing. She's talking to you about that thing.
It's a conversation.
So,
I fully agree with you.
Yeah, it's like
I just know what it is that I'm trying to also push across. It's a very nuanced conversation, but because even with you wanting your sons to understand the female body and not sexualize it, you may find that you're uncomfortable naked in other spaces. And someone's like, oh, but I'm your father. And you're like, God, do I? And it's like, now you're being a hypocrite. So
the relationship is what the difference is.
The relationship is important.
So your daughter having a relationship with you about and knowing that for me in front of my father, and so that doesn't mean that with just any man around me, I'm not. People are discerning, people are clever, children are clever.
But we must have the conversation.
My son was naked a lot at home, but as soon as people would come into the house, he goes to put his clothes on. I never had to tell him that, but that was just something that he knew that when my mom is around, I'm home.
Yeah.
Mom, if it's me and mom, it represents home, right? So in front of my mom, I can do a lot of things. But as soon as there's a knock on the door or if Nosisi is around, I'm not doing those things.
Are you a liberal parent? In the sense that would you be living in one of those homes where everyone's naked?
Yeah. I even sometimes question my partner because I'm like, dude, I literally only see you naked if we're having sex. But like, I don't mind like people walking around like I don't mind. You know what I mean?
Because it should liberate the children.
Yeah, and
hey,
I
but
just
for girls in the world we live in, they get very comfortable,
and
they'll think
very comfortable.
no with nudity to a point where what you're saying about relationship, they'll assume with other people that our relationship is at that level.
No,
God, it's with the wrong people.
No,
I'm telling you about girls that I've met in my life.
Okay, nudist girls
who were raised in
that
liberal
type
homes.
Okay, I see.
Where they're just like, dude, we're mates. It's just breast, and I'm like, please don't.
I'm that person.
That's what I'm saying.
For breasts, I'm like, I mean, really. It's like when uhamba topless, ne, and upuma, you're my friend, bro. It's like, calm down.
Our next door neighbors, Umawa Corner, was always naked. You know, you'd come into that house. House, I want a boy unja. I'm like, but your breast,
but
though.
Your breast,
like
though.
In my whole life, what must happen now? I think when I was a young boy, I understand the sexualization concern, and it's a very important conversation.
It is.
But I'd like for you and other mothers to try and respect when your young boys
when he
say things to you. You don't have to adjust, but just listen to him.
Maybe
ask the question, because he might be like, "Mom, I'm uncomfortable."
Yeah, he did.
And it's for you to actually listen and maybe figure out, are you changing? Are you what?
So I learned that because I underestimated why he said that, and not to put all his business out here, but I learned then subsequently that as time went on, that he's going through a self-discovery, right, as a young man. And so then I was like, okay. And I always knew this day would come. And I always said to my cousins who used to beef me about me being naked and him being naked and us sleeping together naked. I said...
So your cousins also had an issue with this thing?
My whole family.
Okay. At least you know this is a thing.
Yeah. So I said the day that he starts becoming interested or being conscious of sexuality is the day that he'll tell me to stop. And he did. And then I was like, oh... I didn't think of it.
You'd sleep with him naked?
Yeah.
Both of you?
Yeah. So I took
Do you think
skin
it's the
to skin
same
time way far. I took it.
Do you think it's the same for fathers and daughters?
You see, that's interesting, right? Ooh.
Yeah. Usuyayizwa manje.
Yeah.
Oh, usuyayizwa manje.
But also, again, because of what you said earlier, that men are... like, for instance...
But it's the father.
The erection, though, the erections are sometimes not controlled. It's not like you can...
In the morning glory is a thing.
Is a thing. So now you're lying there with your daughter, spooning your daughter. Next thing, your daughter is feeding your erection.
Spooning your daughter.
That's kind of crazy.
Or your
daughter spooning you.
I hear you.
I
look, it's not meant to be a bad thing, but I'd rather even avoid that.
I hear you.
Yeah, just draw clear boundaries regardless.
That's
Nazo. So we need to consider in the co-parenting journey your people and my people, and understand that your people are an extension of you, and my people are an extension of me. There's the thing about the maintenance you raised, but then there's also, and the important thing about that maintenance legal aspect you raised is something I try to tell men. And I don't work. I don't have money. I can't provide. I'm like, where are you sleeping? What are you eating? What are you wearing? Because on your plate of food, you can share that with your child.
Yep.
You can ask wherever you're staying that your child will sleep with you on the bed, because you have got some resources wherever they come from, and you must share those things with your child. That I think is important.
100%.
Do you take offense to the term baby mama, baby mommy, baby daddy?
No.
Like some people do?
No. I'm not overly sensitive. I remember I'm a conflict avoider, so I don't get offended by a lot of things.
Do you think it's an offensive word, or is it because of Black America and what they've done with the word? That's my baby mama.
Yeah, I feel like people are like overly sensitive about things that are not important.
Yeah.
Like a title like baby mama or baby daddy it's got no bearing. You must be worried about, don't call me that.
Don't call me a baby mama. I'm the mother of your child. Okay, mother of my child.
Mother of my child. Yeah, that's what it is. It's okay, mother of my child. Okay. What does that have to do with the price of bread?
Yeah.
Whatever you call me is whatever you call me. Are we doing the right thing for Umdana is what matters to me. Maybe even the word baby mama and baby daddy has got a negative connotation to... What offends me actually is when people put that label baby daddy drama on my issues
Yeah.
or my partner's issues with the mother of his child, to say, oh, baby mama drama, baby daddy drama. And that,
Drama though.
no,
I see drama.
no, I see drama. It's
Situations.
conflict resolution.
Drama.
We are human beings. Why is it that a drama between you and I will not be put into a title or under a particular umbrella, but my conflict with the father of my child is put into this umbrella? So what does that do? It devalues what we're actually talking about and what the conflict is about. Even with him, he'll look at me and be like, hey, unkai baby mama drama. And it's like, that's defeating, because you are now nullifying what I'm raising by putting it into a category that this thing has got nothing to do with. So a lot of the things that we talk about, when we talk about money, it's already put into a box of
baby mama drama.
When we talk about access to mtana, it's already put into, so we can never actually find our way through it.
It's a lazy escape.
It's so lazy.
If someone in the situation is in there. I understand from people outside. But if
between the two of us,
it's wrong.
Because we can never, and I actually feel that a lot of the problems that human beings, because like I say, I don't just talk for myself, I talk for people that I've seen also in situations I've seen. A lot of the blockages for communication are based on these titles that people put, these even perceptions that people have based on TV. Guti, oh baba, a father, because I was victim to that. Guti, even with my new partner, I say a father must bond with their child like this. And my partner was like, not me.
Sure.
He's like, me, I bond with my children. We wake up in the morning and we go and fix the roof. That's how I bond with my kids. And I'm like, no, but you're being so rough because and he's like, yes,
real
niggas. That's he's like, I'm raising niggas. You know what I mean? And I'm like, eventually, that thing used to annoy the hell out of me. And I won't lie, we do have conflict over it sometimes.
Sure.
But I have had to learn that my views, my thoughts, my wishes are mine.
Yeah.
And I can play those out. But this person, whether I'm with them or not with them, because the co-parenting thing is, even with me and my partner, currently, we are raising our 3 children. We have disagreements.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? So the only difference here is that kunothando, and there is a willingness to understand the next person. But sometimes we stonewall. Say, I say. He says, I say. And then I'm normally the one who's like, because he's quiet. He's like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, then I'm like, you know what? Whatever. And then my children will literally look at me because they know I protect them.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, Mom, Dad is asking us to go outside. Look, it's raining.
Sure.
And then I'm like, I know, hey. There's nothing I can say about it.
That's what's up.
Because before I used to also fight him in front of them to say, no, don't do that to the kids. And then I realized that I was wrong. I was like, these kids now, they're going to...
You're taking away his power. They'll know that if shit hits the fan, we're going to go to mom. Mom will conquer this nigger,
thing for her.
And then
actually,
that's wrong.
And in the future, I'm going to need him to be that guy that he is right now, because I won't be able to handle grown-ass men that look like that, you know what I mean, who are coming to now manipulate me, and I can't now go to the dad, and the dad doesn't have that thing, because eventually these boys are going to grow up to be men, and the only person that's going to be able to get through to them is him, not me.
Yeah,
I've
seen the mothers of my kids make a lot of mistakes. I really try to stay out of it because I'm like, this is your way of doing things. We can discuss it on the side, outside of them. And I'll tell you why I think what you did was wrong or whatever. But you must have your power. And even if the kids come to me, I'm like, it's your mom.
Hey, man.
I may have done it different, but you have to respect that this is what your mom wants. On the same topic, 2 things. The one is the idea of co-parenting within a marriage or co-parenting with a man you're living with. And the second one is the idea of your current partner and the father of your youngest, him being the liaison with the father of your firstborn, and your thoughts around that.
Ooh, woo! What did you say? You said him being the liaison. So
khuluma madoda.
Yeah,
Khuluma madoda. Awuqhele mama.
Okay. Hey.
Start with the other one. The idea of co-parenting. How did that quote? There was a quote that said something about single moms. It's scary when you realize that some single moms are married with the man living in the house, but they are still single mothers.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea of co-parenting with, it could be the father of your child, Nshadile, but you guys live in the same house, but you're not parenting together, but you're co-parenting as if.
Yes.
Yes.
So, yes, we are there. The only thing is that it is, I think and I've learned and I've come to understand, and I'm still in the process of learning, that we underestimate what it is to be in a partnership, I think just generally, right? So there's certain liberties that I also give my partner around him being an individual, right? So it's like, oh, he likes to be outside. That's his thing. Like, I feel useful when I'm outside picking up things, putting things in vans, hanging out with my friends, and I can go away the whole day, but come home and be like, yo, my family, right? And I used to hate that. But then I had to accept that he is an individual.
You wanted him indoors.
I wanted him with me all the time. Mesithi siye ephakini nabantwana, sihamba ephakini nabantwana. Mesithi we're going to the movies. We go to the movies with. That was my perception. Ukuthi we're here doing this thing together. Not bullying. It was no. Nati, we are also victim of Hollywood and what we see to be
TV and social media.
TV and social media. We are victims of that. So I've slowly. It is a learning process, like I say. I'm
learning, unlearning, relearning.
Of like what it is to be in a partnership. So now, even the thing, I think even my partner's going through it because we talk about it a lot. To be like, okay, we need to be aligned in terms of how we raise our kids, right? And it's even more tricky when I come in with a child and you come in with a child, and the two parents are still active also, right? So we have our own thing of how we want to raise the children. Then there's also these children are in our household also, so we also have to be aligned.
Modern blended families.
It is the most difficult thing. And like you said, there's some times where I felt like, and I think we shouldn't put those titles to say I feel like I'm a single mother in a relationship. No. It's about understanding who your partner is and how they choose to parent. And that we shouldn't, again, the word single mother is a box.
That word is very triggering for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a box.
Nosisi that are just single and happen to be mothers.
And
they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
How?
Right?
Yeah.
So, again, I try to move away from these titles. Do you know what I mean? Because even I've realized how these titles... with, let's say, the father of my child, they used to trigger him where I'm like, yo, I feel like I'm a single mother in this thing. You know what I mean? And I knew that when I say that word, I knew that I feel like this type of way, And so I had to really think about it and review it, right? So, yes, co-parenting within a relationship is it's the same thing as co-parenting outside of a relationship for me. You still have to figure out a unified front. You still have to figure out the same things. Like if umntana is doing something wrong, I can't badmouth the dad. Even in a relationship, sometimes I want to badmouth my partner to the children to say, babako, 2 days yonke ubuya ngo-9 ebusuku. You know what I mean? But I can't. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing with the father of my child that I'm not with. To be like, I don't agree with some things that he does, but I can't have that conversation with my child. Do you know what I mean? I can't even allude to being annoyed. Like, I can't even have a face of annoyance. Like, so now when my partner comes in and he's late and he said he was going to come back at a certain time and it's like 3-4 hours later. Listen, there's some days when I fail at this, ne? But I'm very conscious of it. To be like, oh, baby, unjani? Niphumaphi? Smile. That time, inside, I want to be like, nigga, go back to where you come from.
I don't even know who you are.
I don't even know why you're here. And you know what he does? He'll come in and he'll want to be busy, ne? He'll be like, okay, so, who's dish? And I'm like, Amengancani. Sibhizi lana bongekho. And he's like, because he's feeling guilty.
Sure.
He knows what he's done is wrong. So then he just becomes an annoyance. But then I had to realize that, no, you know what, this guy, shame. Right? I also then learned that because I would ask for advice from my aunts and uncles, and me and my partner, we went for like a counseling with my side of the family.
It's beautiful.
And then my aunts started realizing that they can be a lot more open even. So my uncles would they spoke to us and my aunts, and they had conflicting views about what this thing should be. But I realized one thing: my partner is no different to my uncles.
Yes.
And I didn't know my uncles were like that until I was this old.
Yeah.
I had this vision of my uncles of being the perfect man.
Oh, why can't you be like my uncles?
Yay! I was there, dude.
Your aunts are like perfect.
Like who? Exactly. Then I actually, now that's why he's off the hook, because I'm like, actually, you're a dude.
Yeah, and this is not malicious.
This is not malicious. You're not trying to hurt me. This is how you are, and this is how you grew up, and this is how your gender is as black men. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, cool. The fact for me is that you're not malicious.
Yeah.
That
There's no malicious intent.
That's what stopped me from getting angry.
Yeah.
Because before it was like,
it's not to accept it. That we have to emphasize, not to say that what the guy did is right.
Is right. It's just
still
to
be corrected, but
it's just to say I'm not personalizing this thing.
Yeah.
The personalization is what actually hurts the most. It's like, why are you doing this to me?
Yes.
Why are you hurting us? Why don't you care about our family? What type of why do you want me to be the one? Not realizing that Batung, this guy, he's like, all guys are like that.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Most. Let me not say all.
Sure.
These superlative words. Don't say all. Most.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most men are very detached from the homing process, the nesting process, which is something for our culture and as black people. I don't know about other, races.
Sure.
Like time immemorial, since back. So I always ask myself, why do we expect the boys that grew up under those systems to be any different? Just because I watched the show, and in the show I saw that guy doing it like this, but that nigga wasn't watching the show when I was watching the show.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He was watching something else.
Yeah.
And now I expect him to know the show that I was watching, to be like, why aren't you like that guy in that show?
Big.
You know what I'm saying?
Sex in the City.
Why aren't you like that guy?
Who the fuck is that?
Who's that?
Why can't you be like Mr. Big and just,
yeah.
Do
you know what I mean? So we also are struggling with a lot of subconscious messages that have been sent to us from birth.
Correct.
From Peppa Pig.
Yeah.
You understand? Right.
Correct.
Through to Sex in the City.
Correct.
So I'm super conscious of that. I'm so hyper conscious of that, to be like, my reactions, is this coming from me, or is this coming from like a perception that I want for myself? And I think the most amount of peace in my life has come from me saying, this is my reality. My reality is not Penwell's reality. Pen and his girl are totally different. Pen is different. How he grew up is different. How his girl grew up is different. This is the person I'm with.
Yeah.
So let me try and understand this person. And I found to have more love for my person and more love for my situation, because now it's like I'm actually crafting based on truth and both of our truths, as opposed to crafting based on like these weird things, these things that even I can't explain them because they're in my subconscious. Do you know what I mean?
I hear you.
So, yeah, man, I wish I could apply that. So to the father of my child, what I do know is that we're going to be in this journey actually forever until. I mean, you are the father of a child and you are the mother of the child as long as that child is alive and as long as you are alive. You understand? So it never stops, right? I need to. It's tricky to. You asked that question around this male interaction between the father of my child and my partner. Ne? That's a situation I'm currently faced with, and I had initial resistance, and that's where it was left off. I haven't moved on from the resistant point because it was never addressed again. But it was I acknowledge
Who suggested it?
The father of my first child.
He said, let me rather speak to your partner.
No, he's a let's do this like blended family thing. All of us come together. Oh, your
Can
husband.
live together in a compound.
Let's live literally.
Come
it's like
on.
you know him. Literally.
Really?
Yeah.
What a boss.
He was like, yo, I got a piece of land. It's for all of us. I said, okay. Like, but I understand his energy. Like, he's got multiple, he's like, I don't know his situation, whether it's like, if you'd call it polygamous or what they call it these days, but he's got more than one woman and children with each of these women, you know. So he's very much into the blended family thing. And so for me, I'm on the outside, and the mother of his first child, we're also both on the outside of this scenario. And this is something that I think he's grown into, because growing up, I don't think he really understood that he was, how to define what he was, but he was a player. His name was even player.
He's
in
like
high
me,
school.
man. We're struggling with these things.
What things?
We need to shut this down because of time, but it means we need to sit down very, very soon here after.
Yeah, maybe.
Closing remarks. Sorry, I know you didn't cover the last question enough, and we will explore it more.
We will.
The idea of the partner that you're with now liaising with the other parent, which is not something they signed up for.
Yeah.
But also the complication in co-parenting when the person gets a new partner and the sensitivity around that, and how's the best way to approach
serious.
it. When it becomes serious, what that means for the kids.
No, getting a new partner is not even an issue. It's when that partnership becomes a real thing.
Oh, the person moves in, and now your child is
exposed to that person.
Yeah.
Closing
remarks. But yeah, we need to. I think we're gonna need to have a couple of these, and depending on the comments, we might have like a lot.
So closing remarks are. I came into this thing very like wanting to be calculated because I was so afraid that I'd say the wrong thing, and like I don't want to offend anybody, but
specifically the father of your child and your child themselves
and my child
and your partner
and my partner, right? So the truth, my truth, I had to figure out ukuthi ngizoyikhuluma kanjani, but actually what happened is that I worked so hard on myself and trying to understand why is it that the situations in my life are like this. And I think a lot of people don't take time out to think before they speak.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't take time out to understand the words that they're using and why those things could be triggering. So we find ourselves just falling into things and not realizing that, oh, maybe I am the problem.
Correct.
Like maybe it's me who's the problem.
Could be you. That's the problem.
Like this.
Could be the woman. That's the problem.
And it's very easy
almost all the time. Yeah. Sorry. I thought we were getting somewhere
You're
there
going,
together.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm saying vice versa. And I just feel like we just need to take some time out to introspect and think about what is it that we want.
Yeah.
Do we want to stay in conflict for the rest of our lives? Or do we want to find peace and have our child grow up in peace? Because the child is never going to stop. The child will always be there. I can't erase you as the father of my child. You always.
Some women try though, with parental alienation.
But it's not possible
it's
because even when the child grows up, the child will find their father or their mother. You understand? So whether you try or not, or you don't try, whatever it is, the point is that the person at the center of this whole thing is umntana.
Yeah.
So if there's self-work that I need to do, that it's not about me and my ego. It's about how can I be better in this situation for my son, not for me. I don't care, like, how you view me.
Sure.
It's about this guy, dude, like, if he's okay. So that's my thing, is like, we must always be cognizant of why we are saying certain things, why we are doing certain things. Like, the point is umntana, not you.
Let's have a part 2. We're going to check the comments as well. But when you come back, I'd like you to do that list. I'll remind you.
Yes, please.
A list of all the things you'd like to address, like if I was that gent, and then allow the gent to kind of defend himself.
Let's take it away from the personal. Because, yay, it's too
Thank
much.
you, Nosisi. Let's shut it down.
Thank you. Cool.